film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film is a big bag of shit.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Fun shit bag.
It's fun shit bag.
It's fun. It's fun.
Sure.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Hey, cheers, boys.
That's why we drink. It's so much fun.
71.
Cheers to everybody out there.
71. Thanks for listening to us. If this is your first time, this is Indie Film Sucks Podcast, where we talk about the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of true independent filmmaking. That's right. So I didn't want you to owe $5 more.
I know.
I got you in for like, what, 15, 20?
You reminded me about it the other day.
Yeah, I bet he did. He's one of the few guys listening.
I know.
Yeah, that one's for you, Tommy.
He's our biggest fan.
Exactly. So we like to talk about independent film. Different things going on. Our movies going on. Red Night at Skies. Some other stuff we've done. We like to bring on guests. So appreciate you listening tonight. I'm Chris Mackey, producer, owner, 88mm Productions.
Chris Grega, writer, director, also
Extraordinaire.
owner, guy who does shit.
You sound so depressed right now.
My knee's fucked up. I am depressed.
That is true. I'm
true.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Brock Roberts. I'm the glue. The glue that holds this shit wagon together.
The Gorilla Glue. Look at you. The Gorilla Glue.
No, we can't say that. Gonna have to bleep that out. We can't afford girls.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go, take that again.
And I'm Brock Roberts. Thanks for joining the show.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. I think I was on assignment last time. Maybe.
You were.
Maybe, yeah. Didn't accomplish much on assignment, but what I did was come up with a topic for tonight, though.
Oh, what's that?
Did you? Okay, we need one because we're fresh out.
Yeah, trust me, we are, for sure. It's called Moving the Needle.
Oh, what needle?
Well, the needle could be anything. I look at it like that pressure gauge, right? And just the pressure's pushing up and the needle's moving like this. But for our sense, moving the needle is what advances you to the next level. Are you doing enough or putting enough into whatever you're trying to do to advance to the next level? So, in our case, we've done 7, 8 films, features, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. So 7 features. We got Red Night. So what are we doing differently on the next one that moves that needle towards whatever we want it to be?
There's
right?
a next one?
Well, how about we talk about Red Night, where we were before Red Night, what we did for Red Night to move the needle.
To move the needle.
Yeah, and
on Red Night. Yep.
And then what we're thinking about maybe for if there is a next project, which there will be.
No.
But how do we move the
You
needle?
always have to. We talked about this, right?
Yeah.
You always have to be working on the next thing, right? Always have to have scripts in the hopper. You always have to be thinking about different things.
Yes.
Or what's going to happen is the one film you are working on is going to come to a place where you're not going to have anything to work on anymore, and then you're going to be behind.
Well, that's kind of what happened prior to Red Night. We had all of our eggs in one basket, and that basket was a boxing film called Cruiser. And our plan for that was to put in around 3 recognizable name actors. And they were all villains. One was the main villain, and there were 2 secondary villains that we're also looking at for names. And we were raising money for that, and we were doing pretty well. We had a decent chunk of change raised. And then COVID came along and wrecked everything like it did for so many other people. We lost, I had to give all the money back, and everything was shut down. Mm-hmm. So the idea was, okay, we're going to take a fraction of that budget. We're going to make another film, and I immediately started writing this other film, which was Red Night at Skies, with the idea that, all right, we need a name actor for the villain.
So that was a needle mover.
So let me stop you there, though. So what was the needle mover from what was prior to help me.
Cruiser?
Cruiser. Thank you. Mm-hmm. What was the needle mover? Why was Cruiser where it was? Because I wasn't even involved with 88 at that time.
No. Well, we had an idea for, I guess, our 4th film, which was Sound of Nothing.
Right.
And we were going to have again, a name actor for the villain and name actors in smaller roles. And then we realized at that point in time, we did not have the money to put name actors in those roles. So we were going to use, quote unquote, working actors from Hollywood in those similar roles. And then the more we looked into that, the more it's like, okay, these are good actors, but they don't have any sort of following. They don't have any sort of recognizable name to them. So we might as well use local people and save some money.
Okay. But that was the plan to take your movie to the next level,
Yes.
or move the needle as we're describing it tonight.
And whether or not that works, I don't really know, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of movies that are out there that you've never heard of that have names in them.
True. But that was 88's plan.
Yes.
Is to go, we came off of this film, which was Sound of Nothing,
Yes.
thought we could do something, thought we could put these named actors in there, didn't work out for us. So we went ahead and shot the film. Great film, by the way.
It is a good film.
We just thought we couldn't get enough bang for the buck spent. If we could have gotten a real recognizable name, it may be different. It would have definitely moved the needle up, I believe, quite a bit with 88. But we just didn't have the funds at the time.
Of course. So you went forward with whatever you had, made a great movie. It's actually going to be reworked and released, I think, by us soon, actually.
Yeah, because we just got the rights back to that.
Yep. So look forward to that again, to reference that. But so then you took some time off away.
Well, not really. I mean, after Sound of Nothing, that was 2011, 12. That's when we shot that.
Wow, damn.
I know, it's been a while. Then, just because of circumstances presented themselves, I was able to make this documentary about World War II reenactors.
Forgot about that in
Called
between,
Weldon
yep.
Krieg. And that was the first actual documentary that I ever made. And again, that was kind of like a passion project. I mean, that cost almost no money, and we didn't really do anything with it. The biggest thing is, and the biggest thing that I learned from making a documentary, is you cannot control what you get. So, again, if I really wanted to exploit the people involved in it, they were World War II reenactors, I probably could have made it more sensational than it was, but it really wasn't. It was a bunch of really decent guys with a hobby they were very passionate about, and that was the story. There was nothing really crazy or weird or
Right. Without you digging or trying to find that angle.
without me manufacturing a story,
Yes.
and I was not willing to do that
Sure.
to betray their trust.
Or cut it to make a story
Yeah.
like people do. Right. No,
So-
I appreciate that. So
So after that, then again, another sort of happenstance, circumstance thing happened when a friend of mine, an actor, Stephen Heffernan, passed away. And I used that as an opportunity to essentially make another mockumentary film, which was the second one we did, as a tribute to him. And that was called 35 Days of Post-Production Odyssey. And that's about a failed filmmaker who goes back after 10 years, finishes his third incomplete film because his friend, the actor in that film, passed away. That's what that film was. And that was made knowing, okay, this is not going to be a moneymaker. This is not something that we might not even find a distributor for, but it's something that it's from the heart, and we wanted to do it.
It's a really damn fine movie.
No, it's a really good movie.
another good movie that's going to be coming. I mean, we're gonna put it out there for everybody
we're
to see.
reworking that right now
As-
to release it.
Exactly. But your point wasn't to take the company to the next level. You were expanding what you wanted to do, which was the documentary,
Yes.
and you were making a passion project with the Heffernan thing and,
Yes.
and that kind of thing.
And that was 2016 and most of 2017. So around somewhere in 2017-ish, probably late 2016, I came to Brock with this idea like, hey, I want to do a boxing film. I want to shoot it on 16 millimeter black and white short. He's like, okay, cool, let's do that. And then I kept kind of working it and thought, you know what, we could turn this into a feature.
Brock, were you on board at that time? Or is this
Oh
when
yeah,
you
yeah. We were a company together at that time.
Okay.
And, yeah, Greg was right. Like I said, we wanted to make a kind of film noir type of Raging Bull type
Yeah.
of look to it, you know.
Black and white short.
And we just kept getting lucky with some really killer locations and other opportunities and other actors. And that's when Chris is like, yeah, we can turn this into a feature. I mean, it took a whole lot of work for Chris to get a script going for sure. And that's when we started working on the full script and these cool locations They're basically for free, but if we would have had to pay for them, it would have been thousands and
Yep.
thousands and thousands of dollars.
Like we shot in a casino, and we shot in.
And a
Oh yeah, the trailer, that teaser
go ahead,
promo
go
was
ahead, Chris.
awesome.
Yeah, so our plan was to move the needle.
Yeah, we made it.
No, but you thought about it consciously to
Yes.
go. This is going to be bigger than better. We are going to elevate 88 to the next
Yes.
stratosphere.
time.
However you want to say
we
that.
shot an investor teaser because
Yep.
we were going to pitch this film, and at the time we were going to make it a $300,000 budget, and we spent $15,000 on this teaser, and it looked really good.
That's a commitment.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, at our level and what you were thinking, you actually were moving the needle for what you thought your project
and
was
you
going to
could
be.
you'd see it in the trailer.
Absolutely. Agree.
And then COVID kind of, wrecked everything. And so we came back with Red Night at Skies. And that's when I kind of sat down, took a long, hard look at what I've been doing for the past 20-something years for filmmaking. And it was sort of all over the spectrum of genres. And I thought, you know what? I really like horror films. I like a certain type of horror film from the 80s and in some cases the 70s. And I think, it's good to focus on something like that. Because I was just thinking back to the films that I grew up with that I really liked, John Carpenter and Walter Hill and Ridley Scott. And I thought, this is the genre we need to lean into. And so everything going forward from Red Night at Skies would be some version of that genre.
Because it was a conscious decision, because from a business side of things,
Yes.
as well as you enjoyed those things,
Yes.
but business decision going, this could change our company, this could propel us forward as a company, to give us identity, to give us
And we had
more areas to make profits, to enter into a world where fans are loyal, all those decisions.
Now we had to add an ingredient to the cake batter. We had to add a name actor.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a needle mover for us.
Which had been in the cards for a while. It just
Right.
didn't work out for Sound of Nothing. And
Okay, so you were already thinking that on Sound of Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made a couple passion projects where one, you had reenactors and real people in it, so there was nothing going to happen there.
Yeah, those things just kind of,
And then-
they came up how they came up, and
And then 35 Days was more of a
That's
passion
what that was, yes.
tribute project.
Yes.
And then we went into Cruiser, and the plan was to raise enough money to have how many
3
named actors? Okay, so that was already the plan.
Yes.
You now insert the genre later,
yes,
but the plan was already, you already knew at that point that bringing in a name changes everything.
I don't know if it changes everything.
Okay.
But it gets more eyes on your film.
There's more opportunity with the name actor. That's why they cost money,
Yes.
because they're worth it.
But no
apparently.
guarantee.
There's no guarantee. It doesn't mean it's
Right.
going to work, because there's, like I said, thousands of movies made that are out there right now that have tons of names in them that no one even knows about, that no one gives a shit about. Look at Megalopolis. Scorsese's, his epic film, which has all the indications of being a flop right now. I haven't seen it. Could be great, but the point is, there are no guarantees, but there are some things you can do to kind of hedge your bets, and that was our whole idea.
Or to make yourself stick out at our budget level.
Yes, because that's the thing. Some people, lots of distributors, lots of festivals, lots of whomever, will not even look at your film unless there is someone recognizable in it. And what is the first question that someone asks about a movie? There are two
Who's
things.
in it?
Who's in it, or who directed
yeah.
it?
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
100% true.
So the thing that happened with Red Night at Skies, it was still concurrent with COVID. It was at the tail end of COVID. So originally the name was going to play the villain, the Doc character.
Right.
And we kept trying to do all this bizarre math to make it work, but it just kept adding all this cost to have this actor for these 4 days. It was an extra
COVID.
or
No.
during the tail end of COVID. It was
Right.
like an extra $30,000-$40,000.
It was nuts.
It was like, why are we spending this money, which gives us, it doesn't give us any production value at all. So I rewrote the script, came up with the father character for the main character. So we made the father character the name. That's where we inserted Mosley, and we were able to shoot all of his scenes in one day.
Still considering we can move the needle based off of the genre,
Yes,
the named actor,
yes,
the script, the story, all that was like, we're now elevated, right? Bigger budget than we've ever shot on before.
yes.
So moving the needle within, I think what you said was really important of moving the needle with a main named actor for 4 days when it doesn't add value to moving the needle.
Well, that would have, but the problem was the extra amount of money would for the COVID crap that you had to cover.
Yeah, but taking all those costs into
Yeah.
consideration on how we were
Well,
shooting.
if we had the money, it would have been worth it.
Yeah, if we had the money, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the money.
True. It wasn't paying him, and I was trying to do
Right.
that cost average kind of
Yeah,
conversation.
no, I think it would have been worth it if we had the money,
Right.
but it's just too much. We couldn't.
But within our budget, we could afford it. We just couldn't afford the extra $40,000 shooting COVID rules.
Yeah, because we had a super tight budget already, and we couldn't afford the COVID rule money.
Right. But if we had the money, we still thought it would have been a good investment
Mm-hmm.
to try to make that back.
Oh, absolutely. Let's say you have an Eric Roberts or a Michael Madsen or Tom Sizemore, rest in peace. You have someone like that, right? You pour one out for Tom.
Tommy. When you know him, you can call him Tommy.
Man, I really like that guy too.
So did I. It's great in Saving Private Ryan.
He was. He's great in everything, man. Anyway, you have someone like that, you really have to utilize them properly.
Yes.
And we maybe a couple of years ago, we saw a movie where they had like an Eric Roberts and Tony Todd, and they were in such almost
Obvious.
obvious cameos.
Yes.
I could not see that helping the production at all.
Right. And I think we did the best we could with Mosley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And I think
sure.
effectively used him well.
Yes.
But after your property is complete and you're thinking about your next script and
Yeah.
you're thinking about certain things and a property isn't necessarily proven yet because you're still working through distribution deals and
talking about Red Knight.
yeah, with Red Knight, it's you start thinking about going. The needle moving hasn't been proven. We think we had a good formula, stuff in the stew, the pot, right? We got all these things going on, but now we're thinking about the next project, right?
Well, I've got a couple schools of thought on that. So one is you put a bigger name in there, which is more money, but more
Eyeballs.
more eyeballs, more cachet.
Right.
Or the other is the thought that I had is you put in smaller people who are not necessarily bigger names, but maybe they have more influence.
Or you spend a bunch in marketing your movie without any names.
Well,
Right.
that's to be perfectly honest, that's probably the best route because it doesn't matter if you have a pile of shit if it's marketed right.
I agree. I 100% agree.
I mean, look at Sharknado. Sharknado is not
No, but you saw it everywhere because they
Yes.
pumped it everywhere. They
because
put,
it was
they put
brilliant
billboards
marketing.
out. They did everything they had to do, and
Yes.
it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't
yeah,
matter how
they're
bad
not
it was.
making an Oscar-worthy film. They're making a turd, but they're making a turd that people are going to say, "Well, this is so stupid. I gotta watch it."
So I think that's interesting, Brock, that you brought that up because that's exactly it. Is in our level, you have to choose where you're going to put that needle mover, and you may choose wrong for that particular time and that particular feature, right?
Yeah, because they're
Because you only get at our level, you only get a chance to do one or two. What's the rule? You can't have this, or this. You can pick two.
yeah, good, fast, cheap. Pick any two.
And I think that's the same now that I've been discussing this with you guys for ad nauseum this tonight about the needle movers is you can, on a limited budget, you can either put it in marketing, you can either put it in named actor, or you can put it in something else. But that extra money for the needle mover is going to be spent somewhere. You just have to choose wisely.
If I had to pick, I'd pick marketing.
Yeah, but man, you're opening up a can of worms
Oh,
there.
I know, but I mean,
yeah.
there is no golden ticket.
No, nobody's saying there is.
There is no. If you follow these 10 easy steps, you'll have success.
No. We would never say that.
Here's another thing, though. At our level, I don't even know if you could have you couldn't raise enough money to market it like you'd want if you think you want to make $500 or $1 million back on a $100,000 film. I mean, to market with a small budget of $100,000, how much money would you need to market it? Where would you market it at? And would that really do anything effective?
I was talking to a guy that's in marketing who knows somebody who made a film, and they were $25,000 a month to buy space to make sure their movie was positioned to the top of certain things. So it's expensive, not unreasonable
Sure.
by any means. I think that's not an extraordinary cost, but that's people that have money to do it. That's not us. So I agree with what you're saying, Brock, is you have to weigh those, right? Is that what you're saying? Is going?
Yeah, and if you're a film company and you're really good at marketing and have a following, that will definitely help you out because you're your own marketer. But if you need to pay a company to help you market, which is where we would be at, 'cause,
Right.
I don't know if we. I think Greg is right. Marketing is probably the most important. Ask Hollywood, but I don't even know if we'd have the budget to do a marketing thing. So I'd go back to the name actor.
So you're saying that the named actor in our situation, the named actor brings more bang for the buck than a marketing thing could at the same cost.
Most likely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with you that throwing $25,000 into marketing gets you something, but bringing a named actor who's going to be in your movie forever
Right.
may pull more of a return, and that's the tough.
At our level, yeah,
That's
I
the tough
think.
thing.
I don't know.
No,
because
there's
It may.
no
Yeah.
formula. There's no anything. Or you go to Greg's third point and you put 4 or 5, and I called them influences earlier.
Sure.
I don't think that's proper.
No,
That's
that's the right word.
that have been in some things, but maybe coming from other things. Like we know somebody that had an ex pro wrestler in there.
Yes.
That big draw. We don't know what he's doing for the movie.
No,
we don't,
no
we don't
idea.
know if he got paid, and I saw some posts on it. But that's kind of where it stopped, right? We don't know his contract, but that's the bang for the buck on the marketing side if they utilize it properly, right? So you bought the marketing by buying them or putting them in the movie.
That's kind of my point. An actor is your marketing.
Depending on the actor.
To an extent.
But a big name, yes.
Or just, a recognizable name or
Well, yeah, I
face.
mean, at a certain budget level, you can't afford a big name unless you happen to know somebody.
I'm saying
who
big name
knows
for
somebody
us, but
who
you're
would
right. It could
do
be
you a
misleading.
favor.
It could be
So
misleading.
you may be able to afford a
do we
name
know?
actor in a well-known TV show,
Yeah.
or a movie that's been out years ago and,
No, in our genre, we have icons that we could pull in, right? Like the Mosleys and these other guys that do it all the time to come back and do some stuff. They still cost a pretty penny because they're worth it and they know their value.
Yes.
And I don't disagree with their rate.
no, I don't either.
But I think to your point, Brock, is you're saying that if you bring that in immediately without saying a word or doing anything, that draws attention. Which
Yeah.
draws reverse marketing, right? It's not push marketing, it's pull marketing, right?
Depending on who it is, yes, it certainly helps.
Yeah. So that's our dilemma right now is when we move to the next thing.
At the beginning of the show, you was talking about, moving the needle and our next project, which, we're not exactly sure which project. We got some ideas. Greg has got some great scripts going and everything. We got to figure out what is going to move the needle for us in a positive direction.
Correct.
And that's very difficult for any independent filmmaker on any budget, to be honest, because if they're wanting to move the needle, whatever budget they're on, they want to move it higher.
Yes.
So is it more money? Is it more marketing? Is it bigger names? Which, yes to all that. But how do you do that on a modest budget? It's very, very tough. So we got to be pretty smart and we got to do some research on what's the best for us.
Right. And once you get too far into the production, it's in money spent and deposits are down and different things. It's hard to reverse that course on a film when every dime is accounted for.
Once you pull the trigger, then it becomes
How do we work within the world we're already set in?
it's
Yes.
Indiana Jones and the Boulder. That's what it becomes.
Yeah, and we talked about adjusting, and you always gotta do things on the fly, but your needle mover shouldn't be done on the fly.
No.
Those decisions should have been made, and you hopefully you made that right decision in order of how that's gonna make your movie.
Yeah, that's
Not even better, because we're not even talking about quality. We're just going to assume that that's in the play.
No,
but
we're
we're talking about profitability, visibility.
Yeah, this is something we talk about before we even go figure out the script or even how much money we need for this script, whichever one we go for. This is something I think anybody should talk about if they're trying to move up or scale up. I mean, if you're wanting to do the same thing, which, I mean, Red Knight's a great movie. I think it's going to make some profit. We hope it does. But we still want to even do bigger, better movies, right? With bigger names and really, I don't know, more shit in it that can make people go, oh, crap, I can't believe they put that in a movie. That's what we want to do eventually. We just have to keep moving the needle up.
Right. And I look at Needle from ROI isn't necessarily the key here for me. because we talked about you can make a $5,000 movie and make good ROI.
Sure.
Hey, I made 5,000% on my movie. Okay, what did it cost? What was your budget? What was your profit
right.
margins? Right.
I mean, yeah, you can make $1,000. You can make a $500 movie and triple your profit, but that doesn't mean you made any money.
So I guess what I'm getting into, I just want to talk about speak to a little bit about ROI is important.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
want to make your investors money back
That's right.
at whatever budget level you're at. So let's not even throw a figure on that, right? So it doesn't matter if it's $1 million or $100. The idea is you're going to make ROI to pay your investors back and maybe put a little bit back in your pocket.
Yes.
Let's just use that as a standard.
Okay.
But we also need to look at is how do you take that film and then think about the next film in order to say, if my budget was $1 million, how do I make a $3.5 million next time? If my budget's $150,000, how do I get investors back? Or how do I get people confident that I can do certain things or my films are good enough
Well,
to pull in investors? And I think that's part of moving the needle as well.
Yep, that is ROI. That is return on investment, if you ask me.
But not from a monetary standpoint sometimes. Not from like we paid these people back, that's the key, but not the 5,000%. It's, yes, the goal is to pay people back. Doesn't matter how much. And the goal is to get them to reinvest into your movie.
Yeah, but I think that obviously the higher the ROI in any said movie, the better chances you can go back to your investor or other investors and say, look, these guys invested this much, they got 200%, 500%.
But that's the risk of making higher
Yeah, but I mean,
higher
it's
dollar
like-
movies is not returning that ROI. I could go to an investor today and go, guarantee you 5,000% investment or return on your money. All I need is $100.
Sure.
See how I'm spinning it?
I mean, yeah, it's easy to make money on a film if the budget is super low. But it's hard to make a film. It's not impossible, but it's harder to make a film that sort of meets the bare minimum standards that Joe audience member expects
at that low of a budget.
at that low of a budget.
Right.
Like, yeah, if you make $1,000 movie and it is competent, you can probably make your money back. You can probably make a profit. But the public at large, there are exceptions to every rule, but generally the public at large are like, well, this is a pile of shit.
Correct. So my point, Brock, was we're always going to think about making the ROI. But ROI, in a sense, or moving that needles in a sense, is getting them back as an investor. That's the needle moving.
Right. If you needed an investor for a $1,000 film, you probably have some issues. But
No, I don't know. I was just
Everybody starts out somewhere.
No, I'm not talking. I don't care about the $1,000 movie. I'm just saying if you spin percentages, it's easy to spin percentages as an ROI. The goal is to return money to people regardless of what whatever your movie is
I
made.
see what you're saying.
The needle moving outside of that is to get them to reinvest in your movie,
Yes.
right? And by doing the things we're talking about and whatever that is, and the next movie could be completely different than the movie you're working on now for the needle mover. Because let's say you have a named actor and you did all this stuff, the next needle mover may be, well, we got to put explosions in it.
Sure.
Right? We need to take the next step. So I guess that's what I'm saying without getting lost in this.
I think the best way to move the needle is to win Best Film at the St. Louis Filmmaker Showcase.
No, we've
Yeah,
done
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think
No,
that
we
would-
haven't
It'll
done
never
that.
happen.
Not now.
Nope.
No, I think moving the needle, it's different for everybody depending on what level you're at. I mean, if you are making a $1,000 movie, awesome, get it going, and hopefully it's you learn something and you think, well, shit, I made this for $1,000. Wonder what I could do for $5,000.
Right.
You know, and I know it's
Right.
more money.
What do I got to put into it?
Yeah. If I can make a little bit of money here, I could just keep doubling up or stacking up or however. And, you know, that's part of business, any business. That's what you want to do. You know, you want to spend $1,000 and make $2,000. That's business. That's any
Sure.
business, right? The movie making business, especially independent film making business, is pretty hard these days. We've talked about the biggest suck, but, you know, that's been the biggest change in our whole industry is the return on an ad, you know, or just the space out there has got so many other films in it. It's harder to make that dollar back these days, you know, and it's kind of a hard sell to investors. But if we can have a proven track record, even in these tough times, I think you should try and move your needle some way or another, whether it be marketing, bigger name actors, whatever it takes. Just always be trying to move that needle.
I agree, and I think we're caught, and I think the secondary biggest suck after distribution is the budgetary level where you're at and moving that needle within certain things, because
It's tough, man.
because we just talked about you just made me think about this. We talked about $1,000 films, right? It's easy to do certain things within that world.
Yes.
Right? But where does it become tough, or decisions are tougher at $150,000, $300,000, $500,000,
Yes.
$1 million, because there's a range that doesn't matter what you do, the needle doesn't move because you're in there with, right?
There's a sweet spot, which
Right. What is
Some
what
people know.
what is that?
Where we are sitting at now, which it's, some people would say, boy, it's a problem I wish I had, is we're sitting at around the low six-figure budget level. That's the movies we're making. Right?
Yep.
That's where we're at. So they're not the $2,000, $5,000 movies, and they're not the $2 million movies.
Right, of course, right.
They're the low six figures, which it gives you some freedom, but it also takes away a lot of freedom. Because you don't have, $5 million to just go out, okay, we can get a bunch of C-list actors that have a recognizable name. We can pay them $80,000, $90,000.
I think you got the same problem at that level, because it's just more problems of what do you add to it?
Sure, but I'm saying we don't have that ability, and we're not at the top of the heap where,
Unlimited.
we're very limited, so every choice that we make has to be carefully thought out. Every decision we make has to be analyzed and overanalyzed. If you're just making the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 movie, then you're free to do whatever the hell you want. You don't have those issues, because you're not going to get any names unless you happen to be related to somebody.
No, it's all about moving the needle from that, or
But
return
what
on
I'm saying
investment.
is, when you're in this sort of gray, low six-figure area, which some people, like, you would have talked to me 20 years ago, like, man, Chris, what would you do with $150,000? Oh my God, I could make 5 movies here. I could do this, I could do that. But in reality,
But would you have brought in named actors?
probably not then.
Right.
No, because I didn't know. But then again, the
It was
climate has
different,
changed
way
so
different,
much. Like right now, it is cheaper and easier than ever before to make a movie, and to make a decent movie that you can get in front of eyeballs on a streaming service.
but it's harder to make the money back.
Yes, it's harder to make the money back because there's so much stuff out there.
Yes, I agree. And you're trying to.
I think
Go ahead.
you have to find your niche, and you have to double down on that, and you have to add in elements that reinforce that. Meaning, if your niche is horror, great, make an excellent horror film, and then put some names in there, or put some people with some cachet behind them that other people will say, oh, I want to see this movie, A, because I like what this is about, this interests me, and B, I know these people in it.
Right. And it's taking that next level, which is moving the needle on every film that you do,
Yes.
in order to exercise whatever you're trying to accomplish. In our case, I hope it's making a profit back for our investors and us.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's creative ways to move that needle a little bit. So I know we talked a little bit about, okay, is it marketing? Is it acting? Is it getting people with cachet? If you have a low budget movie, or if you have a little bit of money, if you have let me start that over. So if you just have enough money for a low budget movie, say $100,000, $200,000, whatever, like Greg has said, that's a lot of money to some people, and it is a whole lot of money. I mean, in the movie business, it's not shit, right? But in independent films, it still is money,
Yes.
and it's real money. So there's some ways, like say Greg writes really good scripts, and we get into the hand of an actor or an actress, and we can't afford to pay them what they really are worth. We may offer them points, you know what I mean? So they could possibly own part of the production side. You know what I mean? That's one way to get some name actors in. That's something we could possibly look at too.
You get creative. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I just think there's the dilemma in that budget where we're at of picking what moves the needle.
Yes.
Because there's options.
Well, first it's a good script.
because
you're gonna get
you're
any
not
time in it.
unlimited with funds. Of course, it is a good script, right? I always feel we're gonna have a good script.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go to market with anything less. But then you break it down and you go, forget about everything else. We talked about this tonight. Forget about everything else. Let's break it down. What's it cost us per day to just run this bastard?
Yeah.
Right? Now, what's talent cost us?
Yes.
And then can we afford different talent in different places? And then you start positioning going, is it the influencers or the cachet or is it the name or is it this? And then you look at that and go, this is more of a $250,000 movie if we want to go that route. Do we still want to move forward because we believe we can return our investment to our investors?
Yeah, I mean, the more you spend at a lower level, the harder it is to make the money back.
Of course.
Until you get to a higher level, then it's easier, conversely, to get the money back.
And that's, nobody's ever got that, what is that amount?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what, in my opinion, unless you have unlimited funds and you're backed by a major studio, which some of those movies still flop,
Yep.
but they have a lot of securities behind them.
And here's where a lot of filmmakers make a really terrible mistake. They think they're going to catch lightning in a bottle.
Nope.
Everybody thinks that. They're going to make the next Blair Witch or whatever, and it's going to go to Sundance. There is a movie that was produced recently that their whole goal was to go to Sundance, and it's a short film.
Yeah.
It's a well-produced short film, but it's a short film. And that's their calling card movie. It's like, okay, that might work, but it probably won't. And if that's your only plan, it's probably going to fail. I mean, I can't say that it's 100% because there is exceptions to every rule. You never know. But if your main plan is, well, this is so good it can't fail, your plan's pretty shitty.
I mean, to each their own. You can't say
Sure,
that.
there are exceptions, but
they're trying to hit the home run.
yeah, and that's hard to do.
And we're trying to move the needle barely. Let's say 0 is where we started and 100 is like the top. We're probably at 25, 30.
I don't know. I'd
50?
I'd be happy to get a base hit.
I mean, I don't know where we're at on that.
I'd be happy to take a walk
on that scale.
I'd be happy to get hit by a ball and get on base.
No. But if we talk about how far we've come with our
You want some
needle,
more baseball analogies?
with our Pete Rose died. Hey, let's pour one out to Pete.
Hey. No, as far as what percentage of moving the needle,
No.
we don't even know yet.
No. From where we started,
Oh, from where you
or when
started.
Greg has started to where we at today, I mean,
it's a huge jump.
but once you get to a certain,
Look at amphetamine. Look at Red Knight. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
no, okay, so
incomparable.
30, 40, we've moved. If 100% is a Hollywood high level production movie where we're all getting paid and we're all doing what
Okay,
we
so
want
it's
to do.
got 7%.
Yeah, okay.
We're more like 5.
No. But I think that
No,
puts it in
yeah.
perspective of saying this is how hard it is. And if you're at 7 to 10, getting to 11 is freaking hard,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Not saying you're going to be to 100 because the best of the best don't even get there in a lot of politics and stuff that we won't
Yes.
get into. But if you get 30% is probably making $3-4 million movies and you're returning profit. I mean, right?
Yes.
If you're
people,
moving,
yes, people do it.
If you're
there
moving-
are people who have solid, lifelong careers making films that most people have never heard of.
Right.
There's a guy I can bring up, Jack Snyder. He's
Yep.
a local boy made good. He's directed a number of films that,
Good guy.
$300,000+ films. Decent, good guy, and no one knows Jack Snyder.
right? Unless you're from St. Louis,
Unless
or
you're
you're
from St.
in
Louis.
yeah.
But he's
He's doing well.
he's done well with himself.
Yes, I know his wife. So
I mean, hell, the biggest guy that most people have never heard of who was a successful Hollywood director was George Hickenlooper.
yeah. Went out and did Factory Girl and a few others, but
Yeah.
no, he was out there doing it.
Yes.
Absolutely, but few and far between. Each company needs to pick how they're going to take that next step.
Correct.
And hopefully they get that hit because they're doing things right. That somebody notices and it helps them move the needle faster. Right? We talked about momentum on a podcast before.
Yes.
Is how do you take advantage of that? Big thing is marketing. Big thing is certain things within that world. But I don't know. That's where we're at. Brock's done.
We're just gonna keep moving the needle. Or putting a thread through the needle.
Or
Oh shit! Don't
stick
even
the
talk
needle
about
in my
that.
eye.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of
Right
things
in
we can
there.
do with the needle, but you know what we
We can lose
discussed
it.
tonight.
We can lose it in the haystack too.
What did we discuss tonight? We discussed a lot of things.
Yeah, we lost the needle in the haystack,
I know.
poked it in Greg's eye, threaded it a couple times.
Yes.
But you know what else we did?
We made
I
stitches.
talked about the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens.
Yeah.
True.
True.
Independent filmmaking.
True, Tommy. True independent
On the Indie
filmmaking.
Film Sucks podcast,
Like,
brought to you
subscribe.
by 88mm Productions. I want to give a shout out to Shane Kell. Hey, man, we know you're listening.
Thanks, buddy. You're a good
And,
dude.
Thank you.
Trevor Younger, you're always first. Mostly
Yeah.
first.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
All right,
Thank
move
you.
that needle, bitches.
That's right. Put the suit on.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks